Hey up YouTube, what's going on? Basically bringing you my take on the sort of recent Pokemon news in the form of the Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon reveal. I'm not going to talk about any of the other parts of that because it doesn't really interest me as such. However, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon do interest me in quite a way because Pokemon Sun and Moon for me did kind of lose its pizzazz quite quickly, as it were, and especially because a lot of my interest in Pokemon games is shiny hunting, and I absolutely despise SOS method. So first things first, I'm really hoping that these new games provide us with a different form, or at least bring back an old form of shiny hunting that isn't so tedious and annoying. But that's not what this video is really about. This video is more about what I feel like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is going to give to the series going forward. Obviously, we only got about 20 seconds of footage on the end of that, what was actually more of a Pokken trailer. So we've got about 20 seconds of footage for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon here, and the only thing that we can really confirm for certain is the fact that we have some kind of Necrozma fusion with Solgaleo and Lunala. Kind of feel like they basically... They don't really... Like, Legends don't really interest me, especially obviously this one, because there's no way in hell either of those are going to be in regular competitive format. So they have absolutely no real place, as it were, in sort of interest sake going forward. Yeah, they're kind of cool and they're kind of interesting. It's going to be interesting to find out how that happens or how that works. Necrozma's obviously going to be involved in some way, shape or form, and Necrozma's always had some kind of tie to dark matter, or we haven't quite really seen or heard too much about Necrozma's lore yet, as it were, but it's always had some tie to dark matter or dark space, so how they fit that into the Legends in the games is going to be quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to the story, because the story in Sun and Moon is one of the better ones. It's just the issue with it's kind of one of those sort of catch-22. It's an interesting story, but it's also a very, very long game, so you don't really want to replay it. All the other Pokemon games are much quicker and much more rewarding quickly to replay, whereas Sun and Moon aren't, which is one of the downfalls. But at the same time, I don't really want a shorter game. Like, I don't want them to shorten the game as such. I just want them to fill it with more interesting stuff, because it's just a lot of filler. I kind of feel like there's a lot of filler in between the good moments and the actual story. If you just take the story parts of Sun and Moon, it's one of the better stories, but the actual length is a little bit too long for that amount of story. So hopefully they can fix that problem, maybe put a bit more interesting things along the way. The trials are fine, of course, but this is one of the important things I want to get into, because they talk about in the trailer, in the direct, I think it was in the direct itself, he mentions the word alternate. Now, I can't remember what he says. I can't remember if he says alternate take or alternate universe, like the actual alternate universe. I think he might say alternate take on the Sun and Moon story, I think was the exact phrasing. And it's that word alternate, which is obviously usually stuck with alternate universe and things like that, in terms of fan fiction and fiction and general walks of life, like alternate universes, multiverse theory. So it's kind of looking like it's set in the same time, but with a different story playing out. So it's not a follow-up. It's not like Black and White and Black and White 2, where the second one followed the first one. Second followed the third. I don't know where the third came from there. Where the second one followed the first one, just about 3 years, I think it was, they put in between those two games in the actual storyline. Sounds like this one's going to be an alternate take, like a sideways thing rather than a forwards in time situation, more sideways in an alternate universe. Whether or not this is going to be related to the fact they're releasing Gold and Silver on the Virtual Console as well, and having the Virtual Console, obviously, the versions of Gold and Silver being bank compatible as well. So the Gold and Silver are going to be bank compatible, which means I'm thinking maybe if they do bring a few more Alolan forms in, they might be looking at Alolan Johto Pokemon, which would be useful for some of the earlier route things like Furret and Ledybar and even Ariados. Let's not forget Ariados did get a new move, signature move this generation as well. Maybe Noctowl as well. I would not be surprised if they end up making Noctowl a Dark type Pokemon as well, because for some reason they like to make all the Alolan Pokemon Dark types. It's just a thing that's going on there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in a few Alolan Pokemon. They did mention in the trailer, of course, that there's going to be Pokemon in Ultra Sun and Moon that weren't in Pokemon Sun and Moon, which don't know if that just means straight up decks, like straight up different decks, like Black and White 2, or if it's just different Alolan Pokemon. Now, on the Alolan Pokemon front, it's not entirely different Alolan Pokemon. We can say that for certain already, because in the trailer at the very beginning, when you see the main character run out their house in the starting town, I already forgot what that's called, but in the starting town you see him run out of his house and up the path. There is a kid on the side of the road with an Alolan Meowth. So that Alolan Meowth still confirms that they, at the very least, some of the old Alolan Pokemon, I'm talking about them like they're old, some of the original Alolan Pokemon are still there. Whether or not they're going to add new ones in the form of Johto ones because of Gold and Silver, don't know. But that's what I'm thinking, and I think that's what this means going forward for Pokemon. There's going to be a few more Alolan forms with that going on. Maybe Johto Pokemon, we'll see. The other big kind of thing in terms of this alternate universe now is something that's in the original Sun and Moon. It's something a friend of mine pointed out actually quite early on, but obviously a lot of people have now picked up on this on the internet. I did hear it from her before I did hear it from see it on the internet, like a long way ahead, is those 8 square spaces in the Alola region which look like they're having buildings built on them, which to me, 8 spaces in 8 towns rings a bell for gyms. Now that kind of thing made more sense for a time follow-up like Black and White 2, where in a few years' time they've gone for gyms instead, or as well, at the very least, gyms as well as trials. So those gym spaces are a little bit confusing at this point, because if this is an alternate take in a different universe, then those gym spaces don't quite fit into that theory. Sure, I don't really know how that's going to fit. I can't quite tell either if it's a different main character. I can't quite tell from the footage that we've seen already if it's a different main character. So whether or not this is an alternate universe or still a progression in time like Black and White 2 is not confirmed, because it might just be a case of translation, but just a alternate take, which to me screams alternate universe kind of thing, you know, same time just in parallel, and this is somehow connected to the Legends. Because let's not forget, even in the first Sun and Moon, we had the option to flip between Sun and Moon timing, which gave us three different benefits. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to be leaning into that idea a bit harder in this follow-up as well. If you didn't know about that, by the way, if you just go to the place where you get Solgaleo and Lunala with their respective Pokemon, I can't remember which way around it is off the top of my head, but if you go with them, you can flip your day and night cycle, so you can have the sun day and night cycle on Moon, and vice versa. So I wonder if they lean into that a little bit harder, so they maybe actually have some more benefits from flipping that over, rather than just having the opposite, allowing you to evolve different Pokemon at your normal time. Because obviously, if you wanted to hatch Pokemon in the day and you're on Moon and it's basically nighttime all the time that you can normally play the game, then being able to flip your day and night cycle so you can get that daytime Pokemon is helpful. So I wonder if they're going to lean into that a little bit harder, put a few more benefits, a few more actual things that only appear if you flip them, that don't appear in the corresponding game normally. So I wonder if they're going to do that. I'm thinking that might be a thing as well. The only thing we can sort of say for certain, also maybe not say for certain, but say a little bit in confidence, is that this alternate take features different totem Pokemon, potentially. Like, this is the thing we can sort of say with relative certainty, we feel confident in predicting this. Because obviously we saw little cutscenes involving Togedemaru, Mimikyu and Lycanroc. And they kind of, the only time we kind of saw those kind of cutscenes was with the totem Pokemon. So kind of looks like they're going to be back. Togedemaru, I don't know how they're going to do this, to be honest. Obviously, Lycanroc is going to be a rock type. Looks like there's going to be a rock type trial or something in the form of Lycanroc, because Lycanroc is pure rock, so there's no sort of question about that one, as it were. Whether or not Togedemaru is going to be electric or steel, we'll see. Whether or not Mimikyu is still going to be a ghost one or a fairy type one, Because don't forget, we didn't really have any kind of fairy type trial in the end in the first game. She didn't, like, the fairy type trial captain didn't actually do anything in the first game. So whether or not she actually sets up a trial or has a trial in this follow-up game, and the totem Pokemon is Mimikyu for that, I would not be surprised to see that. So whether or not the second game is even going to still have trials is to be seen, but it looks like we still at the very least have totem Pokemon. Whether or not totem Pokemon are going to be built around gyms or built around trials, we shall see. So yeah, that's basically what I kind of see going forward here. The fact that we might have some kind of maybe even some connection to the original Sun and Moon as well, like some kind of parallel universe situation going on here, which would be a crazy way to go forward in Pokemon. But it's kind of looking that way a little bit to me. So with those 8 spaces, still look a little bit suspect whether or not they're going to build gyms on those. What I won't be surprised to see is if we do trials through the game, and then once you beat the game, then the gyms are built, or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. And then you have to go through another 8 gyms or something in the post game, just to give a bit more meat to the post game, because that was one of the bigger criticisms with the original Sun and Moon. There wasn't really a lot to the post games. You just had the Ultra Beast, and that was that. That was it. And obviously the Tapper's. But that's basically the post game for every other game so far, is the legendaries, and what they did on top of that is what gave, because things like Emerald, things like Platinum had better post games because they had the Battle Frontier, for instance. There wasn't even, we had the Battle Tree, of course, but that was Battle Limited, and to be honest, at this point, kind of a little bit fed up with these battle things. Just straightforward. It's just a straightforward battle thing. There was no real variety to it. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more variety in the post game for Ultra Sun and Moon. For people saying that the names are uninspired, it's to do with the Ultra Beasts. So clearly the Ultra Beasts are more tied into this one, as we've seen Necrozma. Necrozma has never been labelled as an Ultra Beast, but has ties to the Ultra Beasts. That's the official literature for Necrozma. It's not actually an Ultra Beast itself, but it has some kind of link to them, is what we've had so far, information-wise, on that. So clearly this one's going to be based around Necrozma, maybe a little bit more based around Ultra Beasts, and maybe a little bit more understanding of where they came from and why they exist, which would be kind of... I'm looking forward to finding out about that, to be honest, because to be honest, the Ultra Beasts are the most interesting part of Pokemon Sun and Moon, as well, for me. So if we can get a little bit more information on those guys. But that's kind of going to wrap this video up. So we're just going to see what kind of happens with these, how the Necrozma fits into the Legends, and obviously how the Ultra Beasts fit into the storyline this time round. Whether or not this is whether or not this was either just unfortunate phrasing on the announcements part, or whether or not it is actually some kind of parallel alternate universe thing going on here. Whether or not those 8 gym spaces is going to be something to be paying attention to going forward here, and whether or not we get new Alolan forms, maybe tied into the fact we're getting gold and silver releases as well. So maybe some Johto Alolan forms. It's also going to be something that we're going to need to be looking forward to here. So they're basically my key points that I think we're going to be having to look forward on. Keeping an eye out for news-wise for the Ultra Sun and Moon. Also whether or not these Totem Pokemon are attached to trials still, and whether or not these are in fact Totem Pokemon. Looking that way. So they're basically the key points that we need to be looking at going forward in this game, in my opinion. That's it from me anyway. I've been amazing to you, you've been amazing too. For now, ta-ra.